Hey everybody, this is Elliot from Little Punk People here. Today I'm here with my father once again, and we're here to talk about some more music. But today we're going to be going into just strictly covers. So, are you ready?
I am ready, son.
Let's do this.
Album covers, metal album covers mostly we're going to be doing, right? And mostly
Yes.
metal album covers and just a couple,
Punk,
yeah.
rock.
Yeah, so mostly metal, a little bit of rock, but a little bit of punk and rock, but mostly metal.
Yeah. Okay. So
What's
we got
the
our
start?
drinks here.
Oh yes, I'm sorry, yes, we have our drinks here.
Yeah, I got my drink.
Go ahead, you got your peanuts.
So, as you can see here, I got my Peanuts cup, but inside of it is, of course, an orange Gatorade. Let me see.
And I got my little Punk People glass. We made these years ago, but we didn't really have enough money to make too many of them. So we made like 20 or something, and that was it. And we never made more, and they all sold, but we kept maybe like 4 for ourselves. Maybe one day we'll make more. It's just that you have to have a lot of money to get a lot of them made in order to profit really.
One day.
One day. We've got our Motorhead coaster here, and you got your King Diamond coaster, right?
Yes.
From BZ Elliott. Okay, you want me to start?
I can start whatever you want.
You start then.
Okay? So the first album that I'm going to get into is Black Flag's My War. As you can see here, I just absolutely love the album art. And I don't know why, but this is like something that would pop up in my brain like right before I go to sleep. Just that like face, it's red eyes staring into your soul. So definitely this album. It has a creepy vibe to it too. Like it has a creepy, cartoony vibe at the same time. So that's why My War.
Okay, so for me, let's start with Iron Maiden. Okay, we're only doing for each of us one band.
Yeah, we're holding it to one band because if it was any album cover, bands like Iron Maiden and Megadeth would just like completely dominate this list.
Yeah, we'd have like a gazillion Maiden covers.
Yeah.
So for me, this is my favorite Iron Maiden cover. Somewhere in Time, and the back is really cool too. Actually, what we'll do is I'll probably roll in a B-roll of close-ups, more close-ups of these albums. So I'll just remind myself to do that. So anyway, for this record, it's my favorite because it takes me back to being in, what grade was I in? Maybe 6th or 7th grade. And I was into, that's when I was at the height of getting into metal and everything like that. So this will always take me back to it. Killers was really close for me, but this takes the cake. This came out in, look at my notes here, 1986, yeah. So 86 means 6th grade, 7th grade, probably 7th grade is when I got it. But Derek Riggs is one of my favorite artists of all time, and obviously Iron Maiden covers are some of the best covers of all time. I mean, there's only so much I could say. I could go on forever about it.
But Derek Riggs holds a special place in my heart, too. Of course, I have an Iron Maiden, but we'll get to that. But he holds a special place in my heart, too, because that's when I was early into interviews. Like, he was one of my first early interviews. I remember him being such a cool, wonderful dude. And we actually have some art of his signed in our apartment here. So, great choice. Now I am on to Motorhead Overkill. It's a classic. Let's see, it came out in 1979. I mean, when I came up with this idea, this was one of the very first album covers that came to mind because it's just a given. I love the colors here, and it just almost feels like it's ready to attack you, like this album is whenever I listen to it. So, 100% classic. It's got style like Motorhead. It looks cool, so I put it on the list.
That's also my favorite Motorhead album and album cover, so I didn't have to add it in my list because he already took care of it for me. How about that? Okay, so my next one is Ozzy Osbourne, one of my favorite artists of all time. Diary of a Madman, one of my favorite albums of his of all time. The reason, I could have picked The Ultimate Sin, even Blizzard of Oz, he's got some cool covers, but this stuck in my head. This came out in 1981. I probably didn't get it till later after that, but this just stuck in my head my whole life. So for when I do my picks, it might not be the greatest art you've ever seen, but it's the actual image and the record itself, the content of the record, but that stuck in my head my whole life.
And now it is time for my Iron Maiden pick, and that is Killers. He mentioned before that he was very close to picking Killers, but to me, I think it actually might be my favorite Iron Maiden album, because it's got style like Motorhead, but it doesn't sound like Motorhead. It's like their own unique type of style, and this picture here matches the vibe of the album it gives off. It feels like you're in in the alleyways of like Brooklyn or something, listening to it, but there's a killer on the loose. So I love it. Killers.
Once again, that was one of my favorite album covers. It was hard to pick, but Somewhere in Time took it for me. So okay, this one you might not think, a lot of people might not think this is really the greatest album cover, but for me it's a big deal. Kiss, Dynasty. And the reason being, this came out in 1979. I was born in 75, so I was 4 years old when this came out. Kiss is one of the first bands, or heavy bands, rock bands, that impacted me, because the first time I saw them was actually on TV, I think when they were doing that movie, The Phantom Menace of the Park, whatever the movie was. There was a Kiss movie, and there was like, I think, live footage, and I literally remember being like 3 or 4 and seeing on the TV, and I was like, oh my god. And Gene Simmons was going, and I looked over at my mom, she's like, yeah. Oh. But anyway, yes. Kiss, either you get it or you don't. I mean, this image itself, I picked this album cover, I could have picked the first album, I could have picked Destroyer, but this one, I think, for some reason, I remember, or maybe it's in my head or not true, but I think I had this poster hanging up in my bedroom when I was like 5 or 6 years old, or 7, or 8, or 9. I really don't remember, but this image, whatever it is a big part of me in my life, and so is Kiss. And being my age, a lot of people watching that are in their 40s, 50s, even 30s, but especially 40s, 50s, and up will remember, they'll get it, so, okay.
Okay, now I have Black Sabbath's Black Sabbath. I picked this album because I cannot imagine how creepy it would be to get this back in the day. Like, what day was it? Well, 1970 was the year. So imagine in 1970 going into a record store and this is the cover you see and you listen to this music like, oh my god. And it kind of freaks me out now, this ghostly silhouette type figure in the middle of the woods with a house in the background. Like, that's like the type of thing you'd see in like the corner of your eye late at night. Like,
I wish we could see her.
Yeah,
when we go for a hike.
Yeah,
That would probably be one of the greatest experiences of my life.
Yeah.
Okay, so my next one is Metallica, Master of Puppets. So I'm gonna go back to. It's a really cool cover. I mean, I don't know how I could explain it.
It gives off an energy to you.
Yeah, it's almost like a trigger for me. And I'll tell you a little story. So I was in 6th grade. And my friend Danny, rest in peace, he actually passed away not long after we graduated high school, but this was middle school, 6th grade. And he was like, check out this band, look at this logo, look at this is crazy, look at this. Because he was a really outgoing, fun, crazy dude. So I was like, look at this shit, man, this is fucking great, man, Metallica, look at these fucking shit. And he had, cassettes were the thing back then, so it was on cassette. So he lent me this, and it's the first time I ever heard Metallica. So he lent me this along with Iron Maiden Killers, both on cassette tape. And just looking at the album covers and then listening to them, and then I dubbed them, meaning I copied them on my own blank tapes. And I'll never forget it, So that's why, this is a big pick for me.
Alright, now it's my turn. And a band that means a lot to me is Death. And this album cover, Leprosy, is incredible. But Death is 100% one of my, I would say, top 5 favorite metal bands of all time. And Ed Repka did the artwork for this, our good friend, and I interviewed him, and that was a very fun interview. He's such a cool dude. He's done amazing covers, and this one, I would say, is probably my favorite. So, hell yeah.
Danzig. This was after 8th grade, between 8th grade, well, I have it written down. August, I'm completely correct, August 88, so it's, what was 89? Okay, 88, that's correct. Okay, August 88. So this is after I graduated middle school, so after 8th grade graduation, in that summer before going into high school. This Danzig Skull, everyone knows it. This Danzig record is perfect. I think maybe it's their best, well, no, it is the best Danzig record, with Danzig 2, in my opinion, coming straight behind it.
Now I have Merciful Fate, Don't Break the Oath, and it goes pretty well with, our drinks here, as you can see, and Fire, and that's what this album sounds like. It sounds like a demon pointing at you, engulfed in flames, and what I like about this cover is how he's pointing at you. He almost looks like, you're next to burn. So, definitely had to be on this list.
This is the Misfits Walk Among Us, and people would think, why not Earth AD? That amazing artwork on it, but this layout and everything just means a lot to me because it's the first time I ever heard the Misfits. It's the first album I heard of theirs. To me, it's perfect, and I was in 7th or 8th grade. Going back to my whole theme, a lot of things that really impacted me the most in my life was at that age, where I really clung to music. One of the best punk bands of all time, if not the best. And I just want to show real quick, because this is the colors, because that's the original colors, but this is the colors that it was on cassette when I had it, and I eventually got it on tape. So Misfits Walk Among Us, everything about it is just perfect to me.
Good. Painkiller, Judas Priest. This, to me, this used to be like one of my top favorite albums ever at a certain age for like a good a year or two. But the colors, it gets you in the mood. It makes you want to, it feels Judas Priest. The colors, the red eyes and the dragon motorcycle. I guess they're going over some kind of hell or something. And this cool knight here looks really cool too. He looks like a metal god. Almost like this cover is very good visual description of what a metal god looks like. So
King Diamond, them. I got this when I was in 7th grade. Around 7th grade, yeah. And the reason, King Diamond has a lot of awesome imagery, of course, himself, the way, the makeup, all of his album covers, everything about it, going back to anything satanic, I was immediately attracted to, but the music is, he's one of my best favorite, most favorite metal bands. But this album, I picked this cover because it looks like a horror movie cover. I just love the spookiness of it, the house and the tree and the moon and all that kind of stuff. And it's the first King Diamond album I ever heard and listened to because I got the tape, like I said, when I was in 7th grade. All hail the king.
I would love to visit that haunted mansion.
Yeah.
It'd be cool.
Yeah.
Here I have Rain and Blood. We're getting on to the big boys here because they're all signed from all the amazing experiences I've had with them. So I'd be extra careful. But Rain and Blood, I just absolutely love the artwork on this. All the creatures, the demons. It's literally what hell should look like. All in one album. And also even just the back is really cool too, with all the band members.
Alright, here's another one. This is Punk. Bad Brains. Look at that image. Need I say more? That's the first Bad Brains record. The first time I heard it, I was young, obviously, as well. And there's not much more to say other than it's essential to me. Want me to do another one?
Yeah, sure.
Because I have more than you. Okay. I didn't take this one. Okay, Amon Amarth.
They have incredible covers.
This came out 2011. This is a band where I love them a lot, and I get extra excited even just looking at their album covers. They have a lot of awesome album covers that look like that. Viking metal. And I'm just really excited at the fact that we've seen them live as well, and Billy interviewed Yuan. But I'm really excited about this band. Every time, it's one of those bands I just look at the record and I want to throw it on. I just look at it and I'm like, yeah.
You feel like the Viking.
I am a Viking. When I listen to this band,
you are a Viking.
I am a Viking.
You ready to chop some heads off, go into battle?
Yes.
Alright. Now, here we have We Are Not Your Kind. It's signed by Jerry Weinberg, and I had to include this because the memory. When I first heard this album, we just went straight to the mall to get the colored vinyl. We were making sure, and this is it here. And then we interviewed him, Jay Weinberg, and then I saw the concert live. Had to include this, and the cover is really cool too. It has that Slipknot vibe to it, so hell yeah.
Okay, this one people are going to probably make fun of me for, except for all my fellow middle-aged Led Zeppelin 4. I was just listening to, my friend was way into this band when I was in 6th grade, and my parents also listened to it, because my parents are kind of like hippies, but rockers at the same time. So growing up, my dad had like longer puffed out hair. He's actually a Vietnam veteran, so when he got back from Vietnam, married my mom when she was like 18. And they're still together. And so I grew up listening to a lot of records my parents listened to, so I grew up on music, Beatles and stuff like that, and Led Zeppelin, and then listening to it myself and getting into it on my own. And just how it looks old, it looks 70s, like when it came out, and it just takes me right back to being a kid. Yeah.
Okay. So I had to include this one. Vulgar Display of Power, Pantera. Right there, you could see it. Phil and Selma signed it from one of the times we interviewed him, and that was one of the best experiences of my life too. And I mean, that cover, dude, tell me you've never felt like that before. Seriously, like you just want to punch someone in the face, or you feel like you got punched in the face. Like which end are you on the cover? And also the back is really cool too. All around, one of my favorite albums ever in metal. And it's perfect for the energy they have. So.
Okay, I'm going to go through some more, but quicker, because these are kind of like honorable mentions. They're all awesome, but I just couldn't stop coming up with records to talk about with the album covers. So, Immortal, and this one is pure Holocaust. A lot of the Immortal covers, with the makeup and everything, black metal stuff, and any black metal imagery with the makeup, but also with when they add nature and they add the trees in the background, I'm all in for that. Minor Threat, complete discography. I had this on tape, CD. They actually just reissued this on blue with a blue background too, Discord Records on blue vinyl, but this means a lot to me. Slayer, South of Heaven. This one was also signed by Tom.
Yeah, so be extra careful with that.
I will. Goes back to, I love the inverted cross, like going through the skull, like almost as if it's going to be stuck upside down. Okay, I'll stop there. What do you want to do? Your?
Yes, this is my final record that isn't an honorable mention, and I'd say this one probably means the most to me out of every record we have here. And that is Megadeth, Peace Sells by Who's Buying, signed by Dave Mustaine, signed by Dave Ellefson. This, of course, that day was one of the best days of my life, again. And whenever I listen to this album and see it, I always think about that, the day I went, and it was Christmas, and I got my headphones. I got brand new headphones. And right away, I put the headphones on and put this album on, right from the start, at full volume, max volume it could possibly be, and just listening to it and being, oh my god, it's just so amazing. And this is one of the albums that really got me into metal as a whole.
Type O Negative, World Coming Down. This came out, I think, 99, right. 1999. I love the black and green like they did on their album covers. I love that whole vibe. This is my favorite album of theirs as well, one of my favorite bands as well. And I was in a band for a little while. We actually opened up for them, which was an incredible experience. Okay, Death, Spiritual Healing. This is the first Death album that I ever heard, and I got it on CD. And that's why this is my favorite Death album. I know Leprosy comes real close for me, and I know he mentioned Leprosy, but this is it for me. And it is such a wonderful thing to be able to be friends with Ed Repka, the artist, the cover artist, after we met him at Horror Hound Horror Convention in, where that was, Indianapolis. And I have I'll do a quick one, because you're all going to make fun of me for this, because you're like, why is this?
One of the best covers I've
Why
ever
is this?
seen.
But AC/DC, Back in Black. You don't need anything more than this. Sometimes simplicity is all you need, and this is one of the best rock metal albums classic metal or rock or whatever you want to call it. But this is their best album in my opinion, and it's perfect. The album cover is exactly what it needs to be. So I wanted to add it to.
I think it's a good album cover
Hey.
too.
Anthrax, Among the Living. This cassette tape always was floating around when I was a kid. It was a big thing. Anthrax was a big deal. They still are a big deal. And this, to me, is the album cover that stuck out and still sticks out the most. Spreading the Disease comes really close. So does State of Euphoria. You know what? Persistence of Time. They got cool album covers. So, but this one is the one that I picked. Dead Kennedys is a punk band. Give Me Convenience or Give Me Death. This is one of the first, if not the first, Dead Kennedys album that I listened to, and it's awesome. And last one, it's definitely not metal, it's not really punk, but came from punk. I would call it post-punk, indie rock, but more post-punk to me. And this is from my high school years. Dinosaur Jr. Green Mind. That album cover is perfect to me. I love it. I love this album. I love Jay Mascis and all of his work. I read about this album cover. The photographer, I believe, was at Coney Island. I think he was in Coney Island and taking pictures of people at the beach. And he saw this girl. He's like, "Are you kidding me? Look at this young girl smoking a cigarette." He snapped the picture really quick. And then he was looking at the camera, and then he looked up again, and she was gone. So he doesn't even know who she was. He just took the picture of her because he saw it, like, look at this girl with a cigarette in her mouth, smoking a cigarette, and then she was gone. Maybe she walked away, maybe there's a lot of people at the beach. So wherever she is, whoever she is, who knows. But she's a part of one of the best albums, she might not even know it, that she's part of one of the best Dinosaur Jr. album covers. And going through their 90s, this is another iconic image. So, and if you haven't checked out Dinosaur Jr., please check them out. Thank you all so much. Please comment, please share this. Please subscribe if you don't already, and please let us know, even in the comments, just let us know any other kind of videos you want us to do. We'll do it.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I hope you all have an amazing rest of your day.
And we're on Instagram, at Little Punk People, all one word, obviously.
And at Elliot Fulham too.
Yeah.
ELLIOTTFULLAN.
And we're on Facebook too, Little Punk People. So, yeah.
And check out the website too.